Well, we're over here on our way back to Moab, Utah. Um, I delivered the desk in Dallas, and I'm going to be honest with you. I am fed up with traveling to Dallas. I used to be a truck driver. Now, I went to truck driving school, believe it or not. And this is like when the CDL license just came out. So to be a truck driver, you had to go to truck driving school to get your CDL license. The Class A license, it was out the door. You couldn't just go down to the local motor vehicle department and get a Class A license. You had to go through this big, extravagant, and this truck driving school. It cost me at the time, I think it was $25,000 to go to this truck driving school. And these instructors that taught you how to drive an 18 wheeler, they were like drill sergeants. They treated you like you were in the military. Like you were, it was like, you know, full metal jacket shit going on. My voice is kind of scratchy tonight. I'm tired. And the rest areas are closed. All the rest areas on this side of the highway going into Albuquerque are closed. So I am actually sitting on the side of the road in some offbeat parking lot with like 30 or 40 18 wheelers. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone around so you get a little angle of what we're talking about. I'm like 15 feet from the highway in this parking lot. I'll go ahead and turn that around. I don't know if you can see what's going on here, but and then over here, there's some cars on the highway. So we're not in a rest area tonight. That's basically what I'm saying here. We are not in a rest area. We're actually stuck on the side of the road. Okay. And there's a lot of action tonight. Okay. Go ahead and turn this around. There's a lot of action out here tonight as far as 18 wheelers go. But anyway, let me get back to the story here on my friend Pete going to truck driving school. So I go to this truck driving school, and these instructors, you're paying these guys $30,000, $30,000 to go to this thing, and they're treating you like you're in the Marines, and they're treating you like I mean, it was really actually pretty rough, believe it or not. I had to stay in a motel room with three other guys that I never met in my life. I didn't even know who these guys were. and then we drive over to the truck driving school. And what it was in Waco, Texas. And it was called American Truck Driving School. And it was actually a World War II. It was a World War II Air Force Base. It was an abandoned World War II Air Force Base. And they had these big, long runways. And that's where we would drive the trucks, up and down these giant, 2-mile runways. So, anyway, I go to this school, and, you go to these tech schools, okay? That's what we're going to call them, tech schools. And they promise you the moon and the stars. And, you start this thing out, and there might be 100 students, let's say. But by the time you get to the end of it, there's only about 10 of you left, because the rest of them were all losers. Another thing about these tech schools is a lot of the students that are in these tech schools, and I'm talking about, air conditioning and heating, truck driving schools, dental assistant schools, anything that has to do with tech industry schools, where you can get a Pell Grant, you can get a government loan. But according to Uncle Joe, and I hate to bring that up, we're going to be getting all that for free. We're going to be able to go to school for free now. Fuck all the people that had to pay for it. Fuck all that. You get these fucking loans to go to these schools, and they're charging you compound daily interest on these things. So you're paying like $1.52 per day interest. So if you only make the minimum payment on these loans, it's going to take you 40 years to pay the fucking thing off. Let me get back to the school thing. So, these tech schools, they promise you the moon and the stars. And, they guarantee you a job when you get out. So you start out with 75 or 100 people. And what the deal is, I was trying to tell you, is a lot of these students that go to these tech schools are fresh out of prison. Okay, they're jailbirds. And they're troublemakers and lowlifes, ex-drug addicts, and, just a bunch of shit like that. And they've been introduced that the government will pay for these people to go to these tech schools. When you get out of prison, and I know this for a fact because my brother has been in and out of prison, and he's gone through these programs every time he gets out. They let you pick a tech school, and the state will pick up the check for you to go to the tech school. So let me get this straight here, okay? Let me get this straight, because I don't see the concept in this at all. You go out in the world and you become a criminal, whether it's with drugs, theft, murder, whatever. And you go to prison and serve your time. And then when you get out, you get free apartments, you get free cell phones, you get free food, and you get all this shit for free. And then on top of all that, you get to go to the tech school for free. All right? So everything you get when you go to prison and you get out, you get all this crap for free. Where's our free shit? Okay, what about the honest, upstanding citizen that works his ass off and pays his bills and does it? What happens to those people? Why is it that the criminal gets treated like gold? Poor me. Feel sorry for me. So out of 100% of these scumbags that, come out of prison, because none of these guys are guilty. None of them are guilty. You'll never talk to anybody in prison that says I'm guilty. Every one of them is innocent. They didn't do it. Or they were there. Okay, they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. None of these people are guilty. Okay? They're all innocent. So, you get these scumbags that have committed these crimes, violent crimes, and petty crimes, and they get treated like fucking gold. Matter of fact, gold is old news now. Nobody really talks about gold anymore. It's more like platinum and titanium. All right? So you get these scumbags, and they're getting there, but you and me got to pay for it. You and me got to pay for it. And, we've been honest all our lives. So, yeah, it's a real shame, a real fucking shame. Anyway, let me get back to this truck driving shit. So I go to this truck driving school to be an big giant over the road truck driver. I want to drive over the road. Well, I just got married at the time, and I just had my son, my baby boy. He was just born. So here I am. I'm a young guy, family guy. I want to be a truck driver. They promise that they'll get you a job. These son of a bitches didn't get me nothing. I went up there and I said, you guarantee me a job, you better get me a job. Now, the first job that I got was an over-the-road trucker job for a company called Builders Transport. And the guy that I rode with, and this is just my luck, was the filthiest, nastiest truck driver, or should I say individual, I ever met in my life. He smoked cigarettes. He smoked cigars. He chewed Beeman's tobacco, or whatever it is, that tobacco that baseball players chew. He chewed that. And he also chewed Skoal and Copenhagen. And in between all that, he was addicted to nasal spray. I get up in the truck with this fucking idiot. His CB handle was Rod Burner, because he claimed he used to be a welder. Now, this guy's about 60 years old, and he's one of these loudmouth, I know everything about truck driving, and you don't know shit, and you're a pile of shit, and this is my fucking truck, and you're going to do what I tell you to do in my truck, and if you don't do it right, I'll get you fired. But he's supposed to be training me, see? I went out on the road with him for 2 fucking weeks. When we finally pulled in the yard, I told Builders Transport to stick it in their ass. All right? That was one of the worst experiences I ever had in my life, having to drive a truck with this disgusting and vile individual. We were out on the road 2 weeks. The guy never took a shower. He never changed his clothes. The sheets in his sleeper were black. They were gray, they were tarnished gray black. He had 2 pillows back there that were nasty. I ended up sleeping in the passenger seat when I wasn't driving, because he basically made it very clear, this is my bunk, this is my bed. Yeah, well, don't worry about it, because I ain't sleeping in your pig pen anyway, buddy. So I get back off the road, and then Builders Transport screws me out of more than half my money. Because let me tell you, this is how trucking industry works, or it used to work. Okay? Back in the day, now I don't know if it's like this now, and if anybody out there that's a truck driver, please leave a comment on this because I want to know if it's still the same. Back in the day, you used to get money up front. You used to get loans. And they'd give you a card. It's called a comp card. And what you would do, if you didn't have no money, you would live off this comp card or this loan that they give you, you know, this advance, okay? They would give you advances when you go to the truck stops, all right? And if you needed an advance, you call the trucking company up and they will get a hold of the truck stop and the truck stop would give you money. So then by the time you got your paycheck, you didn't have no money because you already spent it living on the road. So I got my paycheck and it was like for $20 for 2 weeks, $25. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on. How in God's world am I going to be an over-the-road truck driver and I will have to support myself over the road and also pay all the bills at my house, support my wife and my brand new baby? There's no way. There is no way. So besides driving a truck with the filthiest, most disgusting human being that I ever met in my life and getting a paycheck for like $28 fucking for 2 weeks work and realizing that to be an over-the-road truck driver, you basically have to be single. And let me tell you something else. If you're going to be a truck driver, do not, and let me say this again, do not become a team driver. Unless you and your wife are going to be truck drivers together, do not be a team driver for a company. It will be one of the most worst experiences you ever have. The truck runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you're not driving, the other guy's driving. The truck never stops. Do not become a team driver. From what I understand, truck driving isn't even truck driving anyway. You might as well get in a truck like mine and hook a trailer up and haul a load. There ain't no more gears to shift. You don't have to downshift. You don't have to upshift. The only thing to do now is start the truck up, put it in drive, and go. That's my understanding of the situation. So, you know, truck driving and being a truck driver has gotten a lot easier over the years. So after my 2 week experience, I go back to the trucking company, the American Truck Driving School, and I tell them, the job that you sent me to sucked. You need to find me a job and you need to get on the stick or I ain't paying you no fucking money. So they find me a job over at Oak Farm Dairies. Oak Farm Dairies is owned by 7-Eleven. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. And I ended up delivering 18-wheeler loads of milk to grocery stores. Local driver. And that job turned out to be pretty good. So anyway, after that, I drove a truck for a while, and I actually had my shop. Okay, I had my shop where I was restoring Volkswagens and doing minor collision repairs. And then I was driving a truck at the same time. And then eventually I had to make my mind up. Either I'm going to be a truck driver, I'm going to be a diesel mechanic / truck driver guy, or I'm going to have my own business. I can't do it both because I'm working my ass off and, it's wearing me out. So I decided I'm going to open my own business. And then, of course, that's where we're at today. That led us up to sitting in this spot with a bunch of 18-wheelers smelling diesel fuel, of course. I don't know if anybody out there has ever smelled diesel fuel, but I hate the smell of diesel fuel. It's disgusting, kind of like old Rod Burner, the truck driver that smoked cigarettes, smoked cigars. He smoked and chewed every type of tobacco that you can chew. And let me go ahead and add this, was addicted to nasal spray. Yeah, that guy. We got nice people and awful people. All right. Nice people, they seem to never do anything wrong. But awful people admit that they do stuff wrong. Nice people always find an excuse. Of if they do something wrong, they always have an excuse of, why they did it and, why they're not supposed to be doing it. But the awful person will just basically admit it. Like, here's an example. If you're a nice person, you're an alcoholic. So you would go to Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're an awful person, you would be a bum. All right? You wouldn't be an alcoholic. You'd be classified as a bum. Piece of shit. A loser. A homeless guy. My sister died from heroin. She had a burst of an overdose and fell flat on her face on a concrete floor and completely crushed her face in and basically died instantly. Now, most people would look at her and say she was an awful person because she was a drug addict. She was a heroin addict. And in most incidences, most cases of heroin addicts, the family that is associated to that heroin addict will, what they will do, they will disown the person. Well, you're a piece of shit, okay? I don't want nothing to do with you. Now that you're a drug addict, you're a thief. You're going to steal from me. Don't ask me for any money. I don't got any money. Leave me alone. Until you get help, don't come around. So now, the drug addict is left all by themselves with nobody. And they have a habit that they want to get off the habit. They don't want to do it no more. But they are addicted to the drug. And they don't have no choice but to do the drug. And it usually leads them into a death, okay? They usually end up dying from being a drug addict, such as heroin. One way or another, they end up dying from this. So, is this person an awful person? Would you disown your sister because she accidentally got mixed up in the wrong crowd and she got addicted to drugs that she possibly didn't even want to do? that when she first started doing it was fun at the beginning, but then when the drug controlled her life, she tried her hardest to get away. Would you disown that person? Would you throw her to the street? Would you call her an awful human being and a disgusting piece of shit? Being the nice person that you are. Because if you're really a nice person, you would love your sister, you would not disown her, and you would help her out any way possible. Because whether they're drug addicts or whether they're a person of some other nature that is classified as an awful person, those people still need help too. I believe that my sister that died from heroin, and I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that when she became a heroin addict, she became a different person. And the different person that she became would classify her as an evil, awful person. She stole to make money. She sold her body to make money. She did unspeakable sex acts to get the drugs that she wanted. Yet, on the other hand, she was married and had 2 children. Everybody in my family, except her husband, disowned her and treated her like shit, and except for me. I'm the only one, besides her husband, that was by her side, and when she called me, I would send her money. I would wire her money, even though I knew she was going to buy a fucking drug, a heroin with it, and shoot heroin up. I would send her the money. Being a nice person and living in a nice world is the world that you might live in. And you might look at the awful person that might be the down and dirty bum, the alcoholic, or possibly the heroin addict, and you scour at them and you look at them in disgust and you tell yourself what a piece of shit these people are. So how does that make you a nice person? Not knowing anything about them, you don't know any history about them. These people are addicted. Okay, the devil has grabbed them and they are addicted to the drug or the alcohol. And most of these people that are addicted to this stuff, most of them, they want to get off of it, but they can't. I think that I believe my sister went to heaven when she died. Because she might have been classified an awful person right here on earth. But in the eyes of heaven and in the eyes of God, she suffered many, many years. And when she died, her soul was released and sent to heaven. Now, you guys can believe what you want. I don't give a shit. But the next time you look at an awful person, don't judge the book and read the book just because the cover might suspect that this is a bad person. You don't know. If you aren't a people reader, if you're not a people person, and you can't read that person, then you don't know what type of person that is. And nobody should be judged by the way they look or by the way they act. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. We really didn't say much tonight. We're stuck out here on the highway. I'm getting sick and tired of driving from Moab, Utah to Dallas, Texas. I got 2 more trips of this bullshit and I'm done. If you want me to work on your car, you better call a truck driver to come get your fucking car, bring it to my shop, and pick the bitch up when I'm done. Being a truck driver is a very, very stressful, depressing, hard life to have on the open road. And there ain't no way in hell that you would catch me driving a truck today. Y'all take it easy and be watching for the new videos coming up. When I get back to Moab, I'll be editing some new stuff. We'll get it loaded up as fast as we can. Leave some comments for me. Let me know what you think. If you had a relative, speaking of relatives, I actually had 2 of my, I had a brother die from drugs as well as a sister. So I know all about drugs. My brother that is in and out of prison, he's a fucking drug addict. All right? I ain't never smoked marijuana in my life. I ain't never fucking drank beer. But I've seen a lot of drug action in my life. I gotta go. I'm rambling. Y'all take it easy. Good luck. We'll see you later. And I'm gonna get some shut-eye and I'm heading home. Talk to y'all later.